Hey fandom, how's it going? Today we are going to be looking at The Wake hardcover by Sean Murphy and Scott Snyder. And I happen to have it right here. So this is The Wake. What do you need to know about The Wake? The Wake is written by Scott Snyder, who has been on a hot streak lately. He has been killing it on Batman, American Vampire. His new series Witches just came out. Now what do you need to know about Sean Murphy? Sean Murphy, and there's the dust jacket. Sean Murphy is a guy who's been in the industry for a very good amount of time, and he is just kind of like finally catching some slack. He's finally just getting the deserve that he really should have gotten a long time ago. Sean Murphy is a great artist. He's done things with Grant Morrison. He did a run on American Vampire. He's done some work on Batman. He's a really great artist, one of my favorite guys in the industry right now. And this is The Wake. The Wake essentially tells the story of, well, the best way to actually break down The Wake is in two parts. The first part of The Wake is set in the past. And essentially in the past is that a marine biologist, Lee Archer, is actually approached by the Department of Homeland Security to go down about 1,000 feet below the sea level to this oil rig and discover something that's going on. There's this weird sonic sound that she is trying to detect, and she is hesitant at first because she's got a kid, she's a parent, and everything like that. And that she soon discovers that this weird sonic sound is actually these mermaid-like creatures who are vicious. They're brutal, and they just want to destroy all of humanity. It's a really, really, really high concept idea because he's also exploring in the past, even farther back, the origins of humanity. And then that's the first half of this chapter. What I really like about this story about The Wake is that Scott Snyder is not afraid to kind of kill off characters. Yes, important characters do die in this series, so it kind of leaves you with, oh man, anybody could go. And Sean Murphy does great art. Now, the second half of this story focuses on the future. It's set 200 years into the future, and basically there is this other kind of mercenary scientist, and she is actually exploring why the world is flooded, because the world is completely flooded at this point. And these creatures, they are around a lot more, and they're attacking human beings. And it's very steampunk-esque, and it's very Waterworld-esque, if you've ever seen that terrible movie. But don't watch Waterworld, actually. It's a horrible movie. But it's basically that concept in the future. And I think what Scott Snyder tried to do is that in trying to explore kind of the origins of humanity and how these creatures tie into all that stuff, he kind of went a little too far to the point where in the last issue it kind of feels a little bit rushed, and I don't think he 100% stuck the landing. I kind of was scratching my head going, wait, what? You're just introducing too many new concepts at this point that you kind of led little breadcrumbs, but it didn't kind of connect for me all the way, if that makes sense, and I'm using my hand signals a lot. Overall, though, I think The Wake is a solid choice, and the future story, I think, is a little bit stronger than the first half of the story, where the future is actually, you get to see this whole society and how humans have gone about trying to survive these creatures and the world being flooded and everything like that in this post-apocalyptic setting where people are floating around like on these balloon aircrafts. There's kings, there's queens. It's really cool stuff in the future. In the past, it's also more of a heartfelt, touching story, so you don't get both at the same time, in my opinion. You get kind of the first half, which is focused more on the humanity and this very beautiful, heartfelt story, and then the second half, it's let's kick some butt, we're gonna, future story. If that makes sense to you guys. I'm trying to paraphrase it because I do not want to spoil anything for you. The hardcover of The Wake is actually pretty solid. Sewn binding. It's got, the typical stuff that a hardcover comes from. It's got, a little letter page by Matt Hollingsworth, some concept art. There is actually the creature, one of them, because there's a bunch of them. Let's see. There's Lee, who is the character in the past. There's Leeward, who is the character in the future, and how all that stuff ties in. You will just have to read to find out, because I am not ruining that for you. Here's some sketches. And, there is variant covers and things like that. I love the variant covers in this. The variant covers, when they were coming out, were great. I think this is about run you about $20 right now. You can find this for about 18 bucks online on Amazon. This is kind of a great gift. It's a one and done story. You could read this and you get the complete story. Just know that I was kind of hoping for a little bit more out of the ending, and maybe it was because I was caught up in the hype at the moment. But giving it a reread again, I'm like, was kind of hoping for a little bit more. Maybe you could have gone a little bit longer with this series to kind of really flesh out some of those concepts that just kind of came out of left field, in my opinion, in the last issue. So, with that said,